Welcome to Recovering Out Loud podcast with your hosts Anthony and Caleb. The opinions expressed here are those of the individuals and not of any organization. Please help support the show by donating in the link. Enjoy the show. What's up, everybody?
Yeah, you're good. All right. So, bro, start off. I'm gonna ask you, how was your day today? Simple question.
It was pretty shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting, when it rains, it pours is starting to come true a lot. But, I don't know. Thought I was going to get my job back today that I lost in my escapades, if you will.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I went in there and he reminded me that not one, but multiple people had come up to him and said that I was exhibiting erratic behavior were the words that he used.
Yeah.
So I don't really remember that, but I'm laughing now, but I was pretty pissed off today.
Yeah.
But that's life, man.
That's
Life. Life happens, right?
Yeah.
And it's you just got to deal with it and move on. And I thought about doing drugs today. I'd be lying if I said I didn't, but it never came up as like a action plan.
Yeah.
And so that was okay. I've been talking a lot to people in recovery and, getting through it. How was your day?
Bro, so like I started a job about 2 weeks ago, and it's a construction job, and I worked in underground gold mines since I've been 18, and that's like a hard labor work. So I'm good at hard labor. But, it's just basically, to sum it up really quick, it's a big piece of humble pie.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm used to making a lot of money at that last job I did. And this time, it's a little bit less money. It's not what I want to do. It's long days. You know what I mean? Like, for the first while I had outside of treatment, I had, my whole day to myself, do whatever Caleb wants to do. So I felt like I took that next step in my life where it's like, all right, I'm going to go back to work now. Gonna try and get my independence up again and rely less on my parents, and that part's going good, right? Like I don't have to ask no one for help right now, but
that's nice.
It is a nice feeling. At the end of the day, like when I go home from work, I still have thankful that I don't have to text my dad or my mother for money, but still, basically, this is the one pause, like the job itself I do not like, and I'll just be straight up honest. I do not like the job.
Yeah, you hate it.
I honestly,
it's evident.
Yeah, it's not a fun job, but the thing is though is it's good because it's keeping me driven. On my last job the job I did for the last 5 years, I felt like I was I hit the altitude, right, where okay, I'm at where I'm at, I'm good where I'm at, I'm making this money, I don't need to go up from here, right? So with this job I'm doing, I have I do not plan on doing construction for the rest of my life, and to anyone that works construction, that is no hate to people that do construction, that's a good job. You'll have work for the rest of your life if you know how to build homes and stuff. People live in houses, so you got work for the rest of your life.
People do live in houses.
But it's just not what I want to do. I got bigger dreams and aspirations with my life, and even if it's not to do my exact, my dream is just for this to blow up. That would be my dream. I want to own a business someday. I would love to start my own business, but even if that doesn't happen, I don't want to work construction. So, in saying that, the thing I like about it is that I come home from work every day, and it's like, fuck, I don't want to do this. So I keep driven on my long-term goal, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're in a position where you're happy where you're at, it's almost dangerous, man. You know what I mean? And not to say you shouldn't be happy where you are, right? But if you come home from work or whatever you're doing every day and you get back home and you're like, oh man, I don't need to do anything. Everything's perfectly fine. Even, you know what I mean? That can be dangerous. Complacency can be dangerous, whether that's in your work career, whether that's in your relationships, whether that's in anything, right? You got to always kind of have something that's driving you.
Yeah. Yeah, that drive to do more, right?
Yeah.
I was having dinner with my uncle last night, and I had to make some amends there, but also, we had a really good conversation. He's a really smart guy. He owns a business and a very successful business. And he was just teaching me these life lessons without like preaching, you know, like he was. And one of the things he kept saying that I kept hearing was like, you know, hang around people that are like-minded, right? And he was telling me about this guy that is like a very successful, famous billionaire in Ontario, and he was, you know, he had private jets, like all these things, and he bought a company that uses my uncle's company. And he just said, like, the way this guy talked, the way this guy walked, like, he's just something about him. You could tell that he was very calculated, right? Yeah. And I think it's an important thing to think about is like, what's my circle like, right? Are the people that I'm hanging around with on the same path, or are people, you know, still out partying and spending money and doing stupid shit? Because I've hung around those guys, right? I spent a lot of time around those guys, and you know, I've come to realize that, you know, you just, as you get older too, you're like, these are things that you don't, I don't know. There are people that, you know, you want to hang around people that are striving to do better. And, you know, there's a point in my life where if I wasn't moving forward in my job, I felt like I was going backwards. And that was good for me because it drove me, to your point. If I'm just kind of like doing this, right, that's dangerous. I agree. Like, I know a lot of people that are happy to do that, right? Yeah. And I know a lot of people that are miserable, just kind of coasting at their 9-to-5 job in the office, grinding every day. They hate their boss, right? And then they wonder why they're depressed, right? Yeah. You know, it's funny. I can say that now, coming from a guy that doesn't have a job at all. But you know what? I'm trying, and I try to focus on the things that I can control, and let go of the things I can't control, because I spent a lot of time trying to control people, places, and things, right? I don't know. I kind of want to go in this direction today, but I've been reading a lot today about social media and how it's like a drug, right?
100%.
How does that show up in your life? How do you use? I saw an interesting headline today. It was like, you know, social media is like, I'm gonna butcher it. It's like cocaine or something.
Bro, I already know my answer to this question. I was talking about it today with my boss. It's crazy, man. It's like, ask your question first. I want to hear what your question is. I want to hear.
Well, I mean, like what?
What I'm gonna.
How do you use social media or as a drug?
I mean, I mean,
related to your drug use.
Well, bro, I wasn't sniffing Instagram, so I wasn't sniffing.
Don't
Facebook,
overthink
Instagram.
it.
But like, I'll tell you what.
When someone likes your photo, do you feel good?
Okay. So in that aspect, yeah. Like when you post a picture and like, you know, you got some cute girls liking your picture, or you know, some cool people that you look up to or think highly of. Yeah, you get that like, oh damn kind of feeling, right? So in that sense, yeah, you're still getting that same like, you know, not euphoric, but like that dopamine boost.
Hit. Yeah, here. Why social media addiction mirrors cocaine use?
Okay, well, I mean,
I love it. It's a little extreme. But...
I'm gonna tell you guys something that I talked to today about with my boss. And he's like basically saying like, you know, people's lives look so good on social media, right? Like so good, man. Like, dude, if you go down my Facebook feed or like my old Instagram feeds of like when I was like literally like curled up, sweating in a bed, looking for drugs, dying, you go on my Facebook, man, and it would look like my life was just like good, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I remember like I would be posting about like. I'd post like a picture with a dog and be like, I miss like just like a family post or just something like you know
Spot. I miss Spot.
I mean? Right? And then like everyone would like it and be like, oh my God, like such a beautiful family.
What a great
picture.
Guy.
Or what a great guy, you know what I mean?
Hangs out with dogs,
yeah. Or like whatever it was, like you would go on my social media and it looked like my life was perfectly fine. Yeah. And he was talking about, I forget what he was saying. Basically, I forget. It had something to do with his wife or his woman, right? And how he doesn't like something to do with whatever, but that's what I got from it. Was like it's so true, man, because like, you know, like right before I went to treatment, like dude, like I was like, one of these days we'll throw it up on the screen what I looked like. I looked horrible. Like,
I gotta get that picture up for everybody.
I looked so horrible. And you would go on my social media, or you know, you would text me on Facebook or something, or text my number, and I'd respond back like, hey man, what's up? Like, you know, yeah, maybe we'll come over tomorrow sometime, even though we're never hanging out. Just like you can portray this big fake, like, you know, you, right? Like you're hiding, like the whole thing of hiding behind a screen. It's so true. Like,
Yeah.
you can post whatever you want. You can make yourself look like you're feeling whatever way you want, right? You can fake it.
Yeah.
So for me, like I use that as it not like to relate it to drugs, kind of like. I mean, I couldn't fake my drug use. Like I did drugs every day.
Mm-hmm.
I got high every day. I felt the way I did every day. But like if you texted me or you looked on my social media, like I could fake that to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just used it to try and make myself look better than I really was.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
I wasn't expecting you to go that way. I didn't even think about that. That's
Yeah.
a good point. It's a small window into someone's life.
Yeah, and especially like I mean, dude, like, okay, I'm not that much younger than you. Like we're kind of from different generations, but like, so I'm 23, and you go like
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. So you go like around my age, like Instagram, especially Snapchat, like people
TikTok.
post their whole lives, like from morning till night, what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, look at me at, the Nike store. Oh, just coming home from work, look at this steak, like everything looks like, right? Like I remember actually when the first time I looked on your Instagram and I was like expecting just like you flexing in the mirror, like, but no, it's just these wholesome pictures with you and your family. Like, it's like some like uncle shit.
That's what happens when you get older.
So like kids from my generation, bro,
different.
are like so much different.
Yeah,
But,
it's a good point.
yeah. What about you? Like, how would you use social media?
Yeah, I mean, like I did it today, right? I was bored today, and without fail, I feel the same way every single time. It's like there's a term called doom scrolling. Have you ever heard of that?
That's like when you just
you're just like you're just
TikTok,
in your bed,
man.
like
Oh my God.
going through TikTok, like like.
Are you on TikTok now?
No, but I refuse to go on TikTok.
Okay,
I put the channel on TikTok.
I asked you that last week.
No, I can't stand it. But I have to use it for this, so I'm starting to get addicted to it. So I got to get away.
Bad, eh?
So I just spend time like feeding my dopamine that way. I'm just like boom, 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 right? And I do it a lot on Reddit. Like I get in Reddit, and then what's funny for me is I find myself getting into like arguments with people
On
right?
Reddit?
On Reddit, especially like there's like Toronto Reddits and subreddits and like addiction subreddits, and sometimes I can like chime in and give my experience and help, and I feel good and whatever. But there's a lot of times where I was on the Toronto subreddit one time, someone was complaining about like I don't know, bike lanes or something, or like landlords, and I'll just say something so stupid back to them, and then I feel so much worse after every single time, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a thing I see online, Joe Rogan talks about it too. It's like there's a setting in your phone where you can make it all grayscale, and it's like scientifically proven that. Sorry, my Mac is trying to update. And it's scientifically proven that you won't look at your phone as much if it's not colored. So I tried it. I lasted like 4 minutes. I was like, this is awful. I can't. I felt like I was colorblind or something. I felt like an idiot. I was like, this is so stupid, right? And so yeah, but I mean, I could see how it works, and but it's like I feel the same way almost that I feel after I do drugs, like the come down. It's like, I was sitting on the couch today, and I got that bad news. I was driving home with my summer tires on, and the weather was so shit, and I was
weather was
around.
crazy today.
I was like, you know what? And this is gonna sound terrible, but I was like, if I roll my car into a ditch right now, I'm not gonna be that mad. These are the thoughts that go through my mind, right?
Yeah.
And the good thing is I don't have to act on those thoughts, which is good. I'm not actually suicidal, but sometimes you in your head you just joke around, and I mean, at least I do. I don't know. I'm pretty messed up, so my thoughts are, I always think this whole Elon Musk thing with where they're like starting to develop this technology where you can read other people's minds. I hope that never happens because I'm fucked.
It's funny.
If people knew what I was thinking, I'd be so fucked.
I was actually under a deck, I had like probably 3.5, 4 feet of space. No, like less than that. Like say like, I don't know. I was on my knees under a deck.
Today.
I threw rocks out the window from the basement. Then had to go under the deck and spread them around so there wasn't a big hill.
That's fun, yeah.
It was dude. It was actually one of the funnest things I've ever done. And I was thinking like, man, I wish I would just lift my head up, bash it off the deck, and then pass right out. No, but you don't.
That can't work now, motherfuckers.
Yeah, you can't act on all those thoughts.
Yeah. It's like if we acted on our first thought. I was always taught first thought wrong, right? Like, And my second thought I have control over, but my first thought I have no control. Sometimes I'm like, what the hell? Where did that come
That's
from?
one of the biggest things I struggle with to this day. Because like I was such a, what's that word when you like go to a store and buy something right away?
Impulsive?
I'm an impulsive person.
Yeah,
Like
I like to
impulsive with
buy
everything.
shit
My
too.
responses, my first thought, the first thing I do it right. Like my first instinct all the time was to always freak out.
Yeah.
I just freak out on people, man. I've gotten a lot better with that. I wanted to ask you this, like, what is one of the biggest things? Because like, this is a question like I feel like I feel like it's a good one just to let people know who out there who probably still struggling, right? Who maybe don't think they could ever like change or they think they know who they are or something. What's the biggest thing you noticed about yourself that since you've changed? Like what's the biggest like personality trait or whatever that is? Like what's the biggest thing you've noticed about yourself since you haven't been sniffing and drinking every damn day?
I would say I think about myself a little bit less now. When I walk into situations, whether it be, and this is going to sound so insignificant and stupid, but for me, it's a big deal because I never thought of this. I didn't spend a second thinking about other people before, right? If I'm walking into a place and I go out of my way to like hold the door for somebody, like I never used to do that before, right? So that's the biggest thing or one of the biggest things for sure is I actually care about how other people are doing and I want to listen. No, don't get me wrong. That's, that wavers sometimes, right? Some days I don't want to talk to anyone. But again, I get through it and I don't pick up drugs and alcohol, and that's the number one priority. So if I was an asshole today, I need to apologize where the apology needs to be, had or done. But I also need to try and change that behavior because in my experience, if I have these like behavioral patterns where I'm acting like my old self, I'm lying to people, I'm not telling people that I'm feeling like using or a big thing that I do is I like to make people laugh or I think that I'm funny. And I like to, put people down. We talked about this in treatment is like this emotional abuse that I do to people. And I never really realized it was emotional abuse until I started doing it a lot when I had nothing else to do in treatment, right? And what I mean by that is I'll have this like passive aggressive attitude where I'm like, no, I'm going to embarrass the shit out. This is in my head. I'm going to embarrass the shit out of you and you're going to feel my pain and I'm going to make everybody else laugh. Right. And it's just this defense mechanism that I use because I don't enjoy my presence sometimes. Right. Or I'm not happy with myself so those are things where I used to just say it and be like, oh, look at this fucking guy, right? Like, and, try and make everybody laugh and embarrass somebody. Now I'm like, hold on. Okay, well, take a second. Yeah. Like, let's not react to the situation. Let's respond to the situation and try and be an adult here, right?
Funny, man. I'm going to share something really quick. I remember, man, when you first got, like, maybe your first couple of weeks when you were in treatment, like, I was like I still do it all the time, and it's a character defect of mine. I just roast people all the time and make fun of people, and in my mind, it's never 99% of the time it's because like, it's just a joke, but there's that 1% where I actually don't like the person, but 99% of the time it's just part of my personality, and it's something I'm not very fond of. I wish that I wasn't like that because it's true. Like I'm usually embarrassing the person or putting them down, but I remember, bro, you're having a bad day that day. You were just cranky as fuck. We had a circle, and it was like, I think it was, I forget what the question was, but you're like, it was about yourself, but like, and it was not directed at me, but like I totally took like it was directed at me because I was like just being myself that day, making fun of people, probably putting people down.
What did I say?
And you're like, man, one thing I don't like about myself is like, I just don't like, I want to be nice to people. I don't want to roast people all the time, make fun of people all the time, or something like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, damn, like that hit because, I'm the same way. And I'm just like, bro, like, that's so true.
You're like, I guess this is not good.
Yeah, I guess I should stop too. But it's something I've always known that I should change.
Yeah, but. I mean, there's just like simple changes, and to I don't want to say normal people, but to non-alcoholic and addicts, it might not seem like a big deal, but another thing my uncle said to me last night that really hit home, and I was not expecting this because he's changed a lot since he had kids. He used to be like a firecracker, and he'll say it himself. He used to snap on his guys at work. He was always like, had this like rage, right? He said to me, he's like, we need to spread more love, and I was like, holy, like what? I did not like. This is a man's man. I did not expect him to say that, right? Yeah, and he said it a few times. he's like, I think it's our purpose and goal, and to spread love in this life, and spread kindness, and and if you just need to spread love. And I'm like, holy shit, that's profound. Like, wow. But it's true. We have enough negativity in this world today.
Oh.
Like there's enough. I don't need to add to it,
Yeah.
right? And I'm good at adding to it. I can be, when I was growing up, a lot of people used to call me negative, right? That was
Negative.
my nickname. Yeah, that was my nickname. Is because like I was always negative, and I was always going into situations like, oh guys, what if this happens, right?
Yeah.
And like, if my friends were breaking the rules or taking my mom's car out or whatever, I'd be like, what if we get caught, right? I was always worried. I was always that kid. And it's probably because I used to get in trouble a lot when I was a kid, and I had a lot of consequences. I used to get grounded a lot, and my phone taken away, and my Xbox cord. They never used to take the Xbox. They used to take the Xbox cord, which is genius. Like now that I think about it, right? Because the Xbox, you could just like, I don't know. Actually, both of them are probably a pretty good idea.
Yeah,
but
but
either way, I hated that.
It's easier for your parents though. They just gotta take a cord.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah.
Dude,
and it's easier to hide. So that's where I was getting at. Thanks. But yeah, like, and to go back to the social media thing, it can be really bad for a lot of people, right?
Oh, yeah. Horrible.
Because the other thing too that it does, and I love this quote. I forget who said it, but it's comparison is the thief of joy, right? And so if I'm constantly comparing, because social media, all it is I'm comparing myself to you.
100%.
Right? Oh, well, why does he get to go on vacation? I'm not on vacation.
Yeah.
And then automatically you feel like shit about
Why does he have a
yourself.
6-pack? And why
Does he have a six? Exactly.
You know?
And then you feel like you hate yourself. You're like, man, I wish I had a 6-pack, but I don't want to work for it. So I'm going to be sad instead. And I'm not going to do anything about it.
Yeah. And lately, man, I know there's some people that are going to relate to this. Some people that spend a lot of time on TikTok. Because my TikTok feed, bro, I'll scroll down TikTok, and then all of a sudden I'll land on some 17-year-old kid in Miami, like
Loaded,
and he's like drop shipping stuff, and I'm like, bro,
I got to get into this drop.
I got to start my own business today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's just such like a unrealistic life that's being perceived by everyone when they look at it, and I consider myself to be somewhat smart. I think I have a good head on my shoulders, and it tricks me sometimes too. So I can imagine what it's doing to not saying I'm smarter than everyone else, but I'm just saying I feel like it tricks the average person to thinking that like there's an easy way to doing things.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say is like there's no shortcuts.
There is
in life,
no
right?
shortcuts, man.
I've learned that. That's pretty obvious, but some people you got to say it over and over again. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
It's too good to be true, man.
I was always taught that,
Like something happening in my life right now. I remember like literally the exact words that someone told me, like, dude, this is too good to be true. I was saying it to myself, like, this is too good to be true, right? Like, it happened. It was too good to be true. It's not true,
Yeah.
Just like usually good things in life, man, like the things you want anyways, whether that's like an expensive vehicle, whether that's like you're at a job right now and you want to move up to a promotional position, whether that's you want to start your own business, you know what I mean? You have to do the hard work.
Yeah.
Like anything you want, man. Even like, dude, this isn't hard work because I really enjoy it, man. But like, I was at work all day. You did things all day. I got home like 2 hours ago. We had another commitment we had to do. Right? We had a commitment we had to do for an hour, and now it's like 9:30, and I was like, I gotta be up at like 5:30 in the morning. But no, like, we want this to work. We gotta put in the hard work, right?
And to your point, it's like, I agree. You have to do these things, especially when you don't want to do them.
Dude, like you're in great physical shape. You're a gym guy. Did you get like that by just doing 5 push-ups in your room and then watching TikToks all day? No, you had to wake up consistently, do the actions, do the dieting, stay dialed in, right? Man. And that's hard work.
I can't remember I honestly I mean this. I can't remember the last time I wanted to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like there's days where I go every day because I've built that routine now.
Yeah.
But there's days I go and I don't work half as hard as I usually do, but I went.
Yeah.
Right. And so the point of going is so that tomorrow it's easier.
Yeah.
And then the next day it's easier. And then now it's it's hard to miss.
And since we're on the gym, man, people get fooled because people go to the gym and they look at the guy who's like jacked and wearing all the gym clothes, and they're like, oh man, like that guy wants to be here. Like, I don't think anybody in the gym wants to actually be in the gym. I mean, sure, there's a few people that enjoy it, but like not every single day, man. Like,
I would say those guys that you follow on TikTok, what are they called?
The Trend Twins.
Yeah, those morons.
Yeah.
He's not jacked whatsoever. I'd gamble my life savings away too. He's richer than me, he's taller than me,
Yeah.
but I'm more fucking jacked, okay? And I'm funny.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, everything I earned was through hard fucking work. I was in the streets, on the corner, selling fucking steroids.
You know what gambling is? This age is OnlyFans for men. Fuck that. I don't gamble. I work hard for money.
Bro, you gamble.
I think those guys like being at the gym.
Those guys like me in the gym because they're juiced up on every steroid in the world.
But that's like that's another thing about another point about social media. Like, are those guys like that 24/7? Maybe, but there's probably some.
No, and see, I was always taught, because like social media is something that like I like starting a podcast. I had different ideas. I genuinely wanted to do this for a bit, and I talked to some people, and they were like, "Hey, if you're gonna do this, you got to be yourself." Because the second you try and play a character, you gotta like, let's say you do end up you gain some traction, then you gotta maintain that character at all times, right? So
it's like lying.
Yeah,
lying is so difficult.
Lying. And it's different if you're doing like certain videos. Like obviously, if you're doing a podcast, like you should probably be yourself because,
it's easier.
It's easier, and you imagine if you like I don't know, if you meet me in person right now, this is the exact guy you're gonna meet, and like I feel like I'm literally all I'm doing right now is having a conversation with you with cameras and a microphone, right? Yeah. That's it. But yeah, I was always taught like if you're gonna get on social media, be yourself because it's so much easier, man. You know what I mean? All you gotta do is just do you.
And people appreciate it more too.
And people appreciate it more.
They can tell when you're being fake, right?
100%.
But yeah, I mean, to touch on the lying thing, like, how hard is it to keep up a lie? You got to remember. And then you start lying to yourself. You got to remember what you lied about. And then you're like, did I tell him that and not him that? And it's like so stressful, right?
I used to lie about everything. Everything, man. Yeah. Like, it becomes such a second nature to me to lie. And this isn't my addiction. Like, I would do anything. Like, I would lie to people about work, relationships. I'd lie to my relationships. I'd lie to my parents, everyone. There was no one really knew what I was really doing, well, people probably did know what I was doing. They probably knew I was messed up the whole time, but lying, man, lying is so powerful, and it's such a horrible personality trait, right? Because like nowadays, and this is what lying has done to me, being like telling so many lies. I'm gonna tell you something interesting, and it kind of sucks a little bit. I have such a hard time trusting people now because of all the lies I've told.
Interesting, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I know how easy it is to lie.
But you also you reflect that off of people. You project.
You project it, right? Yeah. And like what I've come to learn is from the most people that I've been getting close with and getting to know recently, I feel like they're all pretty honest people. Because like at first, dude, like Anthony, like I would have someone tell me like, "Yo, I had a pee this morning and went for a coffee," and I'd be like, "No, you didn't. You probably, took a poop and you probably had a Pepsi." Like, anything you told me, I would second guess, and it literally sucked because like I couldn't trust anyone, right? So I'm coming to learn like, and I just watch the person, what they tell me, and I watch it come true, and I'm like, okay, this guy's not a liar. But it sucks that my first instinct to think is someone is lying, and like. There's a lot of, not so great people out there, but there is a lot of good people too. And, what that has done to me is now thinking everyone's a liar when really, no, Caleb, you were the liar.
Yeah.
Right? But.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, man.
Lying is just so powerful.
I agree. I want to touch back on this cocaine and social media thing because it really interests me. But, so, cocaine floods the brain with dopamine. It's a feel-good chemical, 300% above normal levels. Wow. So a line of cocaine, 300% above normal levels. And to think I was doing that almost every day, there's probably not, a lot of healthiness in that. Social media triggers dopamine spikes through likes, notifications, and endless doom scrolling, reinforcing compulsive use. And that's from Harvard. Wow. Both cause withdrawal symptoms. Cocaine withdrawal, anxiety, irritability, depression. Yep. Social media withdrawal. 2019 study found that heavy users experienced increased heart rate, loneliness, and FOMO. That's fear of missing out, right? When forced to quit. That's from social media. The Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology. Wow.
Bro. When I got out of treatment, man, like not even I use treatment as an example in my life because it's like the most recent one. But like, dude, there's so many examples in my or like times in my life I can think about where like I wouldn't maybe been on social media for a bit, or like maybe I didn't have a phone, or maybe I was in trouble and I was in juvie or something. I can't remember, bro. I remember getting on my phone and being like, okay, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, boom, 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 and I'm back on it. Like, you get that dopamine rush, right? And for like, you guys all probably know what a dopamine rush is, but like, bro, it is the same thing. Like, it's different, obviously, when you literally sniff a line of cocaine, because you get a bigger dopamine rush. But like, for someone who doesn't do cocaine, you're getting that same type of feeling, something that makes you happy that's not real. Like, not, you get what I'm saying with that, right? Like, it's not like, you're having a conversation with your brother and, you're getting happy from that, right? Like, this stuff is not, like, it's
synthetic.
It's synthetic.
Well, I always like to say, too, like, the cavemen, thousands of years ago didn't have smartphones, so it can't be good for us.
No.
But, like, they both cause withdrawal symptoms. I said that already. Idiot.
It causes... That's true.
Both rewire neural pathways. Brain scans. Cocaine shrinks gray matter in areas controlling judgment and impulse control. Yeah, impulse control, definitely a problem.
Oh, I know what I want to talk about.
Reduces prefrontal cortex activity, and that's social media overuse. Wow. I mean, these are a lot of... I mean, I would just say this before you get to your point, but... if you think you're not addicted to your phone, maybe ask yourself, am I being honest with myself? Because I'm definitely addicted to mine.
I'm so addicted to my phone. I can't go without it. If I was like, I would drive an hour away to work every day. If I was like 59 minutes towards work and I had 1 minute left, I'd turn around if I left my phone back. Like, you can't, no one can, bro. We live in this world now where like you are literally addicted to your phone.
You just reminded me of something funny too. Joe Rogan, I saw Joe Rogan one time do stand up live, and he said he had this bit where he was like, it's really weird. I would leave my kids every day with my mother-in-law, right? My wife's mom. I have no problem with that, but I would never leave my phone with her.
Yeah.
I thought that was so funny.
Dude, that's so
true,
for real,
right?
man. That's so
like,
true.
think about that for a second. You would never leave your phone with them, but you would leave your kids with your mother-in-law. It's insane. Oh man.
I like this chat. So we're gonna have some series on here. Like, we're gonna have we're gonna have guest speakers come on and tell their stories. So that's like me and Anthony did our stories. And then we got some pretty cool people planned up.
My sister's gonna come on too. I want she's gonna tell her experience of what it's like living with a degenerate addict like myself.
Yeah. Anthony is the only degenerate addict out there.
I'm alone in that category for sure. But we're I'm looking forward to that. It'll add a different vibe to this, and
we also got plan. We have like an actual like registered addictions counselor that's going to come on and speak to.
Qualified professionals, not two knuckleheads.
Something I wanted to say quickly, because that we're just for chatting. I like this. You get like, I remember when I watch podcasts, man, like it's like just like listen to two people chat about some cool stuff.
That's
what
why
we're doing right now.
That's why it's popular. Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to mention and kind of like get your take on it as well, as like one thing I was warned about, but I also noticed now about getting sober is like you're going to try and fill like that so-called void, or like the things like when you did drugs every day to feel better, you're going to do something else now that you're sober to feel better, right? You know what I'm saying? Like for me, when I got out, I had like that kind of boredom a little bit, right? So I was like, I'll just be honest, I tried to fill that with women. I tried to feel like, because you want that feel good feeling. Everybody does, right? And like, I'm going to say normal people again, but like people who don't have a drug and alcohol problem, who've never had to deal with that, they have certain things placed in their life that they're happy about. But like when you come out of addiction, when you come out of doing something that makes you, relying on something that makes you, because let's be honest, when we sniffed the line of drugs, like we felt good. We got that boost, okay, right? So now that we don't have that, like what are we doing to obtain that? And to like, once you got to regulate that at some point, because you can't be constantly trying to look for happiness in, in things or places. Like you got to find that happiness inside yourself. Yeah. And for me, man, like, is that making sense?
Yeah. I think the important thing is to focus on healthy habits. I mean, I got addicted to golf for a while. I ran marathons for a while, got addicted to that. But it doesn't have to be that. It could just be community, right?
But for me, like I'm genuinely talking, like I was like trying to find something to make me happy, like in someone else, like a woman, or like buying sneakers, or like, just things that like if you're relying on a woman or a pair of shoes to make you happy, clearly there's something inside you that's missing, right? For me, I think one of the things that I didn't like that was going on was I wasn't working, right? And I'm someone who's always worked, and being not self-independent, like not being able to support yourself even though you're sober. It's for me personally, it affected me a lot, and it was just the way I was raised, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm not making any sense here, but like basically what I'm asking you is, what do you do that you want to fix? Like, what things do you do to fill your void that you want to fix?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about that last time, right? Like, but I think, I've heard the opposite of addiction is connection, right? And I think when I used drugs, I was looking for some kind of connection. I had no problem talking to people and, being the center of attention. Like I always try to be the center of attention, and it's a double-edged sword sometimes.
Yeah.
But drugs and alcohol made me feel kind of connected to everyone else in a way, where it kind of shut down the noise, like we talked about. And, things didn't really matter. I could kind of shirk all responsibility. I didn't have to be a brother. I didn't have to be a friend. I could just kind of be nothing. And the lack of responsibility was kind of nice. So, I mean, I think now it's just, you got to fill it with community. And because I didn't have that before, right? Like genuine relationships, not just intimate, but genuine friendships, genuine relationships with your parents, genuine relationships with your brothers and sisters, and like-minded people, like we talked about earlier, And then when you go and hang out with them, you put your damn phone away, stop looking at social media, you know what I mean? Because we all do it. We're at a bar or a restaurant and everyone's on their phone. Mm-hmm. Have you ever like been in a restaurant or a bar and actually just put your phone and stopped and just watched a table of people all on their phone? It's the weirdest looking thing, but we all do it. Dude, it's the strangest looking thing in the world, right? But we all do it. And it's just like, I always think like, if I was, if I were to travel in the future, 30, 40 years ago and come in and see that, I would lose my mind. I'd be like, what the fuck is happening with society? What is that? What's going on? Why are people doing that? Yeah. Right. And, kids nowadays, I feel bad for them. They can't start a conversation. They got to text each other.
No. You notice that, man? About people nowadays, like younger people, like no one is like socially connected, like on a person to person level. Yeah, everything's over the phone. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna tell you something about myself that anyone that knows me knows this. Like, I'm not a shy person, and I'm what's one of my personality strengths that I actually like about myself is I'll go up to someone and talk to them.
Yeah, I agree. You're very outgoing.
And I'll tell you one other funny thing about that is so I'm from a small ass town. Like, you go down any street, you're either going like this out your truck off your steering wheel.
Everyone says hi to each other.
Everyone, how's it going, buddy?
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what I mean? How's your dog doing? Yeah. Everyone's just real tight.
When's the last time you did that here in Toronto?
Well, I try. Dude, I try. I'll be going up what do you call it? The escalators? Is that what you call those things here? You don't have those where I'm from. I'll be going up them and I'll make eye contact with someone. Hey man, how's it going? No response.
They think you're mentally ill.
They literally think I'm mentally ill. To the point now where I don't even try anymore. I'm starting to become
yeah. I mean, we are mentally ill. I should add that.
Yeah, we are mentally ill, but no, man, it's a part of where I was raised, but two, I don't know. I think I'm I don't want to say not like the rest of them, but just most of people from my generation aren't dude. I was watching my cousin's hockey game last night. And there was a bunch of kind of kids. Well, I'm 23. These kids were probably 18.
Gen Z. Yeah.
Right. I'm just going, hey, how's it going, man? How you doing? And hey, and put their head down. They just don't want to have a conversation. Yeah, not everyone is like that.
Strange,
but man. You know what I mean? If I would have texted them on Instagram though, he would have been
would have been great. Yeah.
Everything would have been fine.
You would have known their whole life story. Yeah.
So it's so easy to it's so easy to, and think about this, bro. Whether it was a friend, whether it was your mom or your dad or a girl, and there's something you wanted to say in person, how much easier is it to just say it over the phone? Yeah. You know what I mean?
And then the tone gets totally taken out of context. And then, hey, how's it going? Could be, understood as, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Or bye. Could be bye. Or it could be bye.
Yeah.
Right? Does this person hate me?
Yeah.
Does this person want to murder my family? I don't know. Does this person love me? I don't know. Right. So let's end it there because I think that's good enough. But I'm looking forward to the next episode, and I'm proud of you for showing up, and I'm proud of me for showing up.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I've been enjoying this so much.
Hopefully, everyone else is.
Yeah.
And
even if you don't, just pretend you are.
Pretend you are. Yeah, we'll appreciate that too.
Throw a like on the video.
Like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you're going through. And maybe we can help each other.
Get us 1,000 followers on TikTok so we can start going live on TikTok.
Yeah, that would be fun.
We're going to try and throw some lives up for you guys. And yeah, we're gonna try and actually build. Ant-Man's moving out of the house pretty soon, so we're gonna be a little bit distanced. So we're gonna try and not super distance, like he's still gonna be in Toronto, right? But Toronto's a pretty big place, so we're gonna try and build like an actual upload schedule. Maybe twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, maybe once a week. We don't know, but we're gonna try and figure that out. So yeah, just leave some ideas if there's anything you guys want us to talk about.
Yeah.
Any specific?
Yeah, we'll do
things,
that too, like a
know?
Q&A.
Or yeah,
I'm interested in that.
if you guys have any questions, yeah, even if you're not an addict and you're just someone who's who has a son or a cousin and you just want to know, we'll try and help you guys out, right?
Yeah, or we'll answer from our experience. All right.
All right, guys.